Hello.
Let's get the streamy going. Hold on. It is starting. There we go. Now let's tuck the thingy. Is that Manu or TV behind you?
Uh, uh, hold on one second. I guess, there is a TV going on in the background. Hold on. I gotta.
What? Why isn't this going? Okay, there we go.
Cambio todo. Ah, no.
Ah,
Okay.
okay. You look upset. Is everything okay? You don't have to. Okay.
Amor, no, no, tú estás apretando eso y eso no está funcionando ahora mismo. El volumen no está bajando. That's not moving anything. Bájalo. No, amor, el volumen no está bajando. I'm looking at it. Ahora sí está bajando. All right. Okay.
You okay?
Let's try this again.
Okay. Shall we just go ahead and start? Okay, here goes. I'll wait just a second.
What are you doing? Okay, what is that? Can you explain to me what that is? You're
I
acting
was
as a
gonna say
T-Rex.
dinosaur. I was gonna say dinosaur. I was.
Okay,
I,
you.
I
Okay,
didn't. I
yeah.
didn't say it before he said it, but I was thinking it.
Okay, all right. Okay, T-Rex. Okay, go play the T-Rex on the Switch. Okay, bye. All right. Okay. Acting out a T-Rex. I have no idea why. Okay.
Okay. Here we go. Here comes the song. Is it a song? It's instrumental. Is that still
It
count
is
as
a
a song?
song. Yeah,
It's a song.
it's
Okay.
an.
Here we go.
How? What else would you call it?
A tune?
It's,
It's a song. Okay.
yeah.
Like to me, song sort of implies vocals. No? Okay. Anyway, here it comes. Welcome to Curmudgeon's Corner for Saturday, March 15th, 2025. It is just after 2 UTC as we're starting to record. I'm Sam Minter. Yvonne Boa is here. Hello, Yvonne.
Hello. So yes, it's an instrumental song,
It's an instrumental song.
and I see that the best selling instrumental song of all time.
Axel F.
No,
No?
No.
Crazy Frog?
Nope.
Beethoven's Fifth.
Nope. Star Wars theme and cantina band by
Okay.
record producer Miko, also known as Domenico Monardo. In 1977, remains the only instrumental single to reach platinum status by
Okay.
the Recording Industry Association of America.
Nice. And that would be the original Cantina song from the original Star Wars.
Correct.
They because George Lucas messed around a little afterwards, and there were other versions and whatever. But yeah.
Yeah. So
I think
yeah.
the original stayed in, but he added something, and then there was a new one for Return of the. I don't know. Like, but everyone knows the original.
It is. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. So that is the best-selling instrumental song of all time. Amazingly enough, I mean that's like 1977. So yeah, it's been a minute.
It has been. You know, instrumentals, like it's actually relatively rare that an instrumental like hits like #1 in the charts or whatever. Like it's only happened a few times. There have been a few that have gotten really popular, but it's rare. Which you know, and I almost like reposted something on the Curmudgeon's Corner Slack, because of course we're going on a tangent here. I almost posted something on the Curmudgeon's Corner Slack yesterday because I noticed it again. We talked about it a few months ago, but you know, when I listen to music, I randomly choose which of a whole bunch of playlists I listen to, because of course I'm me. One of them is I pick like the top 100 songs from either Apple Music USA or Apple Music Global, but on either one of them, the percentage that is explicit is like insanely high. And I know we talked about it before, but it's still like every time I see it, like it just strikes me. Like I'm looking right now at the USA top 100. Number 1, Nokia by Drake, explicit. Number 2, Luther by Kendrick Lamar, not explicit. Number 3, 30 for 30 by SZA, explicit. Number 4, Not Like Us by Kendrick Lamar, explicit. Number 5, Somebody Loves Me by Party Next Door, explicit. Number 6, TV Off by Kendrick Lamar, explicit. Number 7, Die With a Smile by Lady Gaga, not explicit. Number 8, Anxiety by Dosheki, I think you say, explicit. Number 9, good song though. Number 9, I'm the Problem by Morgan Wallen, not explicit. And number 10, Give Me a Hug by Drake, explicit. So that means 7 out of the top 10 at the moment are explicit. And like if you go down further on the list, it's a similar ratio. It's just like,
well, the thing is that that's also because of, you know, how commercial radio isn't like the top place where, you know, people listen to music. So that's, you know, that's pretty much eliminated the need for people to like do like clean versions of a lot of songs.
Yeah, well, and even when there is a clean version, it's not the popular version.
No, that's right.
You know, they do make clean versions of a lot of these, but like people aren't going to bother streaming the clean version for the most part.
No.
Even you know, even if that gets played on radio. I was listening to an interview the other day. I think it probably just came up on TikTok or whatever, but it was some artist. I don't even remember who the artist was, but like, hold on. I don't even remember who it was, but like the interviewer played the artist the clean version of one of their songs, and the artist like cracks up and is like, "This is the first time I've ever heard that. That's ridiculous." and she's like, "I'm gonna have to go back into the studio and actually intentionally record a clean version with like alternate lyrics or something, because this was one of the ones that just sort of blanked out the curse words."
Oh, so that wasn't like one that they recorded a different one. This was one where they basically bleeped them.
Yes.
Oh God.
And so yeah, so she was like, "This is ridiculous. I have to go make a clean one. This is stupid."
Yeah. I can see how in a song that would make it sound just awful. I mean, that has to be.
Now the producers are able to like, you know, They have all the tracks, so they can bleep the vocal without making an actual silent spot.
No, no, no. I know, because it's a multi-track recording. I get it,
Right.
but still, but if you, as the artist, know that you went through that and you spoke a word, and all of a sudden the word is gone, right?
Yes.
It's got to sound really like weird to you, okay, when you're listening to this back. I mean,
Well, and
it's like all of a sudden you taking this back. And I don't know, just eliminating a whole bunch of the words I say. If I hear it back, I'm going to be like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I'm hearing, what the is this? I'd be like, oh,
exactly. Just like our show, this was like a song that had like swearing every couple seconds,
Right.
So, anyway. So our agenda for today is as usual. We're going to do our but first, where we talk about less newsy stuff like what we just did. And then after that, we're going to have 2 segments each of like more news related stuff. One picked by Yvonne, one picked by me. That's the plan for today. My but first is going to be media again, Yvonne. So what's yours?
No.
We could do the twice annual daylight savings time rant. It just happened last weekend. I'm kind of bored of that though. We say the same thing, and but it sucks.
I mean, I was
Sleeping.
I was very exhausted the next day, because I'm waking up. Yeah, like not at the right time. It's just fucking bullshit. Anyway, yes, we hate it. Okay, next. All right. Okay, yeah, we've ranted about this already on this medium for what, 20 years almost.
Getting close. We started in 2007.
Right.
June 2007.
So we're almost at 18 years.
Yes.
I'm just like, I don't know, man. I'm like, I got to the day I was tired. I mean, I went to Puerto Rico. I came back.
As you do every week at this point.
Yeah. I took a 7 a.m. flight yesterday because one of my meetings got changed. I went to another meeting that was here in Fort Lauderdale. Right after I landed, I got home. I'm fucking tired. I don't know, man. It's just fucking, and like, I'll tell you what I'll talk about. I'll talk about,
yes,
because it's not news.
Okay.
I didn't make a note about this. So it was one of the things that happened is that I went to lunch after that meeting.
You went to lunch. That's got to be a rarity.
Here's the thing. During the business trips, I noticed that I skip lunch a lot.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. I wind up not going to lunch very often. I get really busy. I might just grab a coffee and some snack, just keep plowing through, and I just regularly don't go to lunch on my business trips. And so we got to lunch. We were talking about the discussion was turning around into what the hell is going on, like right now, every fucking day, right? Because and everybody at my table is like just mortified about the
stuff that is in the news,
the stuff that's in the and the one thing that that was relevant is that most of the people there are immigrants. I think I'm the only one that was a native-born U.S. citizen that was at the table. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, everybody there was educated professional immigrant. Okay.
Okay.
From different countries, at Venezuela, Colombia, Cuba, Argentina. They had a lot of different ones. The one that stuck with me more, we're talking about, how the hell are we in this situation? two things that struck. One thing that struck me was a discussion that said, and he said, "Listen, I'm going to tell you what the fuck it is. It's basically because people are very low information because we were talking about stuff and just how just nobody, very few people can discern what the hell is real and what isn't. Okay, at this point, Madam, okay, can you? I'm busy over here. Can you go? Can you go out and close the door, please? Thank you."
Just rewind like 15 seconds in what you were saying.
The thing is that very few people can discern what the hell is real and what isn't anymore. Okay.
Yeah.
It's too much out there. I think that even a lot of very educated people on a regular basis, I know a lot of very educated people right now on a regular basis can't fucking know what the hell is real or not anymore at this point. And
right, and
what he said is that everything boils down right now.
Yes.
What he said, well, he said because he's not born in the U.S., raised in Argentina. He said, look, it boils down to the 1 square meter. Okay,
one square meter.
1 square meter, and I'm like, well, what do you mean by the 1 square meter? He said, look, you're this person. This is your space.
Right.
Okay. And what they thought in their head is, well, I look at my life right now, and buying a house is more expensive. Stuff is more expensive. A lot of people in especially middle income and down are struggling, and they just said, "Look, I'm worse. I'm going to vote for a change. That's it. Yep. Simple as that." Not a lot more thought, not looking into dictator, totalitarian, whatever are the things that we are really worried about.
Absolutely. And in this particular election, like Kamala made a point. Sorry. Hold on. Where? Okay, sorry. Well, and in this particular election, Kamala actually made a point of not having a gap between her and Biden. Like a lot of people were
I don't think it would have mattered.
Well, it would have been hard anyway, but she made a specific point. Like even when there were opportunities to differentiate, she actually refused. And there were interviews after with her campaign staff saying that they had specific advice that they would do better in the polls if they made sure to differentiate. And instead,
I don't think it would have mattered. I gotta be honest. I don't think. Even that, I don't think it would have mattered. Look, if you look at what happened across the world,
it was close, but it was close enough. Anything could have made a difference. But I think you're right that like overall,
that wasn't something that really resonated. I just don't think it is. I
agree with the general point. That is, most people, it ends up being, quite frankly, just what you said. Am I happy with how my life is going? If so, then I will say thumbs up. Let's continue what we're doing. If not, I'll say thumbs down. Let's change. Now, wait. Let me revise that because this is an important thing. 90% of the public is partisan and will be always Democrat, always Republican, no matter what is going on. But that middle part, the low information voters who don't have enough like alignment to which side they're on, they make decisions the way you just talked
here's
about.
The thing, but a lot of those people over history, if you go back to Obama election, they have flipped. When things are bad, things are good, whatever, whatnot. It goes back to that 1 square meter thing. If you look at how many people,
there is a central group that switches back and forth, but there is a large.
But back in the economic crises.
Well, right. Back
when
in
there
the old
are
days
things
too. Like if you look back older elections, like if you look back in the 30s and 40s and 50s,
hell,
like
80s.
the swing. Yeah, well, yeah. Over time, if you
Shit.
go back looking at the last 100 years, the amount that elections swing back and forth has been less and less and less. It
No,
used
I
to
get
be
that, but
you
the
get
one,
major swings that we just don't see anymore.
but but it's just I still think that it boiled down a lot to that in what determines the people that really either show up or don't show up to vote, okay, or change their votes, okay. And we definitely had a lot of people that just didn't show up to vote. And I think that it's one of those things where you can vary the facts don't matter because you can
Yeah,
show
no,
them
I mean,
that hey, Trump caused a lot of what's happening. Biden was trying to fix it. The GOP went, and even specifically after Biden made certain things that in 2021, 2022 improved people's pocketbooks, the GOP actively killed them. But it doesn't matter. You're going to vote. You said Biden was the president. I'm not better off right now. It doesn't matter. They're going to vote the other guy. And I think it
yeah,
really boils.
absolutely,
And
absolutely.
I think
I think
that was a
for the
big.
critical low information swing voters, absolutely,
And
absolutely, because it
so that
just
was
comes down to that, and there's also no understanding or no desire to understand the
no, they don't have
complexities
the
either.
time.
Yeah,
No, you know, they're so big. You know, they don't have the time. It's not that they don't want the time. They don't have the damn time.
well, and I think what you
No.
said about how this aligns worldwide is
Yes.
100% support for that because it's not about Biden and Trump.
No,
It's
it was about yeah.
worldwide.
Worldwide.
Every single in power party
Lost.
lost ground.
Lost.
Now they sometimes didn't lose completely. They sometimes
But they
went from
lost ground big
They
time.
lost ground significantly. They lost 5
But they
to
almost
10%,
all got
or whatever.
so that was one thing.
Yes.
The other thing that I think that was more poignant, and some of us were talking about which ones have dual citizenship or not. A number at the table did. Um, I don't think I've mentioned on the show that I did figure out that I am eligible
Yeah, you
for
mentioned this
EU
on the Slack,
citizenship.
but not in the show.
Yeah.
Through Spain, because like your grandparent or
My yes, I realize that through my mom that the our family relationship is close enough that is correct. I did I'm kicking myself about this because if I had known that there were job opportunities I wanted to take to move to Europe in the early 2000s, and they told me that because I didn't have an EU passport, I couldn't. And now I'm kicking myself because I didn't actually dig into it.
So what's
Deep
the
enough.
rule here? Is like you need like
So
one
apparently,
grandparent?
if my great grandfather, if my great grandfather was a Spanish citizen.
Oh, so great grandfather counts. So you need only like 1 out of 16.
Yes,
right?
correct.
Because
Yeah.
you wait, no.
So and the one thing is,
1 out of 8. You're
yeah.
you
So
have
my
4
mom,
grandparents, 8
my mom's grandpa.
grandfather.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was a Spanish citizenship, so that made her eligible. The one thing is that I understood is that I have to, and she was fine with it. I said, well, you need to claim me, get my get my citizenship. And apparently she knew this. I'm like, wait, you knew this? Like, you didn't tell me this. I'm like, yeah. So you need to claim mine. I'm cool. I'm down with that. Okay, and then you can claim yours. I'm
Okay,
like,
so
oh.
she has to claim hers, and then you can claim yours. Like it has to go down.
Yeah. I have to do. Yeah, I think I may be able to do both. I actually found a law firm that specializes in it. So I don't know. I haven't had the time to read, but I did get to the point where I know what I got to do,
and then Yvonne, after that, you can adopt me, so that I can also get citizenship.
We'll work on that. Okay, so that's so no, I got the paperwork somewhere around here. I gotta deal with that. But a lot of we're talking about a lot of people why they came to the United States, and one of the things that is their epic frustration right now, and it's like literally
all the things
we
they
brought
came
the
for being
worst
destroyed.
shit. No. The worst qualities of what government in Latin America is what Trump brings to the presidency of the United States. It's that brazen cronyism. It's that brazen taking of money. It's just that entire the laws be damned caudillo bullshit. Okay, this is exactly what they were. They were like
Trying to get away
leaving,
from. Yeah.
and this son of a bitch has brought that, like, to the U.S. There was a Bloomberg columnist the other day that was talking specifically. Look, man, Trump's like presidency is like some Latin American, populist, and it's the populism specifically we're talking
Right.
about. It says, but some Latin American populist that takes power and starts like just ignoring every law and starts, this entire, enriches every single one of his cronies. That's exactly what they've done through history, and what the U.S., to a certain extent. Listen, I know that people say, well, people, they haven't gotten rich or whatever. It's not been at this level.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's not been like this.
And
It's
not
never
this
been like
blatant
this,
either.
and
Like,
not this blatant,
even
and
when
not
people,
and not this flaunting of the law either.
yes, even when people did bad things, they realized they were doing bad things and tried to keep it secret.
Right.
And like if
They
they
don't
got
care.
caught, it would be a big deal.
Right. These guys don't care right now.
They're just like, and it ties to, like, we've talked before, like, people have a really hard time, like if somebody does something openly, well, it can't be a big deal, right? It can't be. They're just doing it. If it was illegal, they wouldn't do that. And even the people who were like theoretically would go after them for stuff are like, well, he's not even denying it. He's just out there doing it. What the hell do we do?
So I think that was my key takeaway. It's just, I mean, we've imported the worst of, and
Yvonne,
I
it's
will
because,
say, but on the flip side,
wait, Yvonne, this is important. We've
Yeah.
imported the worst. It must have been all those damn immigrants we let in
Yes,
that
of
have
course.
brought this culture up here.
Well, like Elon Musk, yes.
So we have to,
and Melania and Elon, and
so we have to deport all these people, just like Donald Trump says, to fix all the corruption.
yes, that's the solution. And I it's just
obviously I'm being sarcastic and joking, just to be clear.
It's just so let's see if you get one of those TikTok clips. Just it'll clip it. And just that'll be your like your Waterloo.
Yes.
It's just it's just very frustrating to see this at this level. I guess that was what they saw as their frustration. It's like, what the fuck, man? This is what we've been trying to run away from, and it's just what they've been running away from, and now all of a sudden it's like here.
Yeah.
And
it's one of those things too, like, once it's ingrained, it's really hard to get out of it. I'm not saying it's impossible,
there is a flip side. There is a flip side to it. I will say that the one thing is that I realize a little bit that even though Sam was like, I read some, I read, I'm not getting as angry about stuff, but I read something a little bit before, and Sam was like, "Why are you looking bad?" I'm like, I can't remember what the fuck story I saw, and I was just like, "Motherfucker," again. Fucking people. So, but I'm not getting as bad about it anymore. I will admit that me spending several years in Argentina, seeing this firsthand, and how somehow people in society were still resilient and came out ahead, even through all this muck, is the one thing that just keeps you like, okay, I mean,
it takes a while though, right?
Yeah. It takes a while, but what I say is that, look, we somehow battle through it in one way or another.
The problem with a lot of this stuff is, and people have characterized it as societies that are strong on trust versus weak on trust. Like, what are the assumptions about, like, can you feel trustful that your neighbor will do the right thing, that politicians will do the right thing, that whatever.
Well, I think
And
that's the
and
biggest thing that's been
and,
eroded in America over the
well,
last
right,
30, 40,
and that
50 years.
and that's the point is it's a lot easier to break trust than it is to build it back up. It takes a lot of time to build it back up. Like, it takes one or two incidents of, like, people trying to tear everything down like Trump is right now to really erode trust and erode it quickly, because you get the mindset that,
Well,
it's
from what, but
everybody,
okay, now
right?
from one, but yeah, but from
But
one,
to
from
build
one
it back, you need
perspective,
a history of, like,
but
lots of people doing the right thing over
so
an extended length of time.
which may be the one advantage that we have on Trump is that so many people really, even though they say they wouldn't change their vote right now, um, are repeatedly have said that, oh my God, we voted for him, and this is not what we voted for. He lied to us. And survey after survey keeps finding this over and over, like right now. But not getting into that. My whole
Yes,
thing that I was
exactly.
getting more was just I had been talking that we've been sharing some articles about how people are just not as social anymore, and so I had been like mentioning the opposite, where I have gone back to levels of socialization that predate the pandemic at this point. Okay. In large part because I've been having to fucking travel like crazy. And another part because I did make a concerted effort at changing that, especially at seeing some people I know. I'm actually seeing Sam. I told Sam that because my wife wanted to go to Vancouver. I'm going to make it that we go to Seattle first. And then we'll have I guess we'll announce the Curmudgeon's Corner meetup.
Oh yeah. I remember you mentioning it. Like,
yeah, it's the week of the 4th of July.
Oh, the 4th of July. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We can do fireworks.
Well, I think I'm going to be on the 4th of July in Vancouver.
Oh, okay.
But
the week of.
Right.
The week of.
Right. I don't think the Canadians are going to be celebrating our independence this year very much.
No.
I have the strange feeling. They're not going to be very excited.
We'll be lucky if we're not at war by that point.
Basically.
So,
with Canada, yes.
With Canada, yes.
That's that movie, Canadian. Did you ever watch the movie? You should put it on your list if you have Canadian Bacon.
I have not watched Canadian Bacon. I have heard
so
of
you need to watch Canadian Bacon.
I'm gonna add it to the stupid
Basically,
list.
A president is unpopular, and he decides that, well, the Soviet Union had fallen, so they decided that, well, we'll just make our straw man. We'll make it Canada. So Americans can hate Canada. We're going to go to war against Canada. Or at least make everybody hate Canada.
Well, the scenario I was figuring would play out is if Ford in Ontario actually did, like, cut off electricity to New York or whatever, I could see Donald Trump responding by, like, well, we're going to go take over the power plants in Canada. And there you go.
Well, that'll be something.
Anyway,
so I've been making this. So I've been seeing more people. So that's one of the things that I've been. Some of the conversations that have been coming up, and like actually sitting down with lunch with people for 2.5 hours.
That's a nice lunch.
Yeah, we did. We had our quarterly results, and we had a very good quarter, and so we our boss decided that we deserved a nice lunch. Well, can't complain about that.
There you go. Nice. Yeah. Now I can say my socialization levels have never been high, and they're still not high. I avoid it whenever possible for the most part. Like,
the thing is, I'm in fucking sales. I gotta go fucking talk to people, man. Look, I will admit that but I fall into the for example, I'll go and I'll visit my customers. I'll go to a lunch, but for example, somebody's asking me, like, how many times do you dine alone on, like, a business trip? And I say a lot. I'm like, why? Because look, I already met people at the office. I went and talked to customers. I did all of this. By the end of the night, I'm like, look, I don't want I don't want to be on at
Right.
dinner too. I'm like, okay, that I like my socialization. I got it. I'm good. Let me sit and have dinner by myself. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. My turn.
yes.
Okay. Hold on. What, Alex? Um. Okay. This is too long. I'm not going to read all of this. Tell you what, I will, as the first break, I will insert it reading this. Okay. Instead of the break I had picked. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So, as you heard, Alex has requested a thing that I will include as the first break. He has some stuff that he has had an AI generate regarding to an educational show we watched together recently. But I will have Siri read that out loud or something as our first break. Okay. Instead of whatever I had determined previously. Now, and yeah, whatever. I'll figure out the right way to do it. Okay. So it sounds decent. Okay. But the one I had in place was a TV show this time.
A TV show.
A TV show that I finished in June of last year. And again, I talk about TV shows when I actually finish them. So I can talk about all the seasons and everything else. Well, I'm not going to talk about all the seasons. Anyway, the show was Stargate SG-1. Okay, for those of you who don't remember this was on from 1997.
Yeah, I was going to say in the 90s, right? Yeah.
It's 1997 to 2007. Okay, so the first thing I'll mention about it.
I will say that I don't think I've ever watched one episode of Stargate SG-1.
Okay. So I'll get to it in a second. But the first thing I wanted to mention about it was, okay, the show was on 10 seasons, 1997 to 2007.
Wow,
when we watched it, 10 seasons, 1997 to 2007. That's not counting spin-off
and this is like are these like the conventional regular seasons, 24 episodes? So you're talking about 240 episodes around there?
I think that's approximately correct. I mean, I will double check it for you and make sure I have the numbers. Yeah, the first 7 seasons were 22 episodes. The last 3 were 20.
Okay, so yeah, close. Okay.
So that's a total of, scrolling down real quick, 214 episodes of the series itself.
Okay.
Now, it also had spin-off series, and there were also 3 made-for-TV movies that were after the series. I haven't watched the made-for-TV movies yet, only the series itself. And of course, the whole series was a sequel to Stargate the movie, which was by, let's see, which was a 1994 movie with a different cast. So they recast it.
Wait,
for the TV
what year was the movie?
1994.
There was a movie?
There was
as a movie?
Yes, there was a Stargate movie, which I have also watched. It was like years ago. Let me check. When did I watch the Stargate movie? Okay, now I have to check that too, because you brought it up. Here we go. Okay, I watched
the original feature film. Here it is, Stargate.
I watched.
I do remember this. It's just I never associated Stargate SG-1 with the movie Stargate for whatever reason. Now, I don't think I've watched the film either.
Yeah, so I watched the movie in 2014. Okay. But yes, so And I keep trying to make this one point that I thought was really cool, and you keep distracting me from it.
Sorry.
Okay, it's 10 seasons, 1997 to 2007. But when we watched it this time, this is actually one that I started after I was logging everything properly. So I know when I started it. And we watched it from 2014 to 2024. So it was originally 10 years and 10 seasons, and it took me 10 years to watch it when I watched it now. So I was essentially rewatching it in real time for with I mean, it wasn't the same like spacing, right? Like I didn't like do a season and then take the summer off or whatever they did in the original. But yeah, it took me 10 years to rewatch the show that was originally on the air for 10 years. So
okay.
So because I'm not binge watching in the way that, instead I'm watching a whole bunch of different shows, and we watch one episode every once in a while. And as it turns out, it took 10 years to watch 10 years of this show. So that, that tells you how fast I'm going to catch up on Law and Order as well.
Yes.
So,
Jesus.
which by the way, we just started season 3. Like,
well, not okay. Well, you're not moving you're moving faster on Law and Order, it seems.
Maybe a little bit. Like season 1 took me almost a year. So
okay.
But anyway, we're not talking about Law and Order. We're talking about Stargate SG-1. Anyway, I give it a thumbs up. I really enjoyed Stargate SG-1 as a show. I watched it. I did watch it when it was originally on TV, but sort of spotty. It wasn't necessarily one that I saw every episode all the time. I think it was only partway through the original run that I got like a TiVo, so that I was more likely to hit every episode. But I enjoyed the show. For the basic premise, for anybody who doesn't know, is that, well, in the movie originally, they dig up a Stargate in Egypt. Like it's underneath in some archaeological thing. I forget if it was under a pyramid or nearby or whatever. But they dig up this thing, and then they figure out how to activate it. And it turns out like it's a portal that you can walk through and go to other planets. So instead of space travel through spaceships, it's space travel through portals that you can activate, and there's a thing you can dial to pick where you're going, and blah blah blah. And so they start exploring the universe with this thing, or at least the galaxy. In the original movie, that it's basically all an adventure to the first planet they figure out how to get to, and it ties into the whole Egyptian theme and all that. The movie picks up, or sorry, the TV show picks up after the movie. So it is, there are some subtle differences, like the lead character's name is spelled differently, a few little things like that to sort of hint that maybe it's not exactly the same, because of course they recast everybody. So they, it's the same characters plus some new ones, but it's, it's unclear, is it actually exactly the same universe, or is it like a subtly different universe from the movie? It doesn't matter. It effectively acts as a sequel to the movie. And then of course, as they start exploring the galaxy, they find enemies that don't like the fact that they're there, and like we'll go after the Earth, and blah blah blah. Adventures ensue. Over the course of the 10 seasons, there are they change sort of the villains up a few times, because like they sort of have done everything they could do with the first set of villains, and so then they bring in new ones, and then they bring in new ones again. And there were a few times where cast members came and went, and so there were sort of replacement characters a few times. But I will say one thing that this series did, one thing that this series did that I think is better than what some have done, is like, first of all, aside from the switch from the movie to the TV show, they didn't just flat out recast people. Like if the actor was not available, then the character went away in some way.
Okay.
And
so the character, God, it's gone.
Yeah, and the thing is, they also were fairly good, with a couple notable exceptions. They didn't like kill them off either. Like something happened to them, because in many cases they came back. like, they would come back for guest appearances. In some cases, they were gone for a season and then came back for real. Or even the season they were gone, they made cameos occasionally.
So it's not like
Yeah.
we talked about with Spike, not Spike, with Buffy. With Buffy,
Yes.
where all of a sudden a sister popped up.
Right. And they did bring in new people, but like they were new characters. Now you could tell that they were kind of the replacement for the character who left, but then they'd have episodes where they were like together with the old person because the old person came for a cameo, and there were subtle differences. So they weren't exact clones. You could tell they were sort of filling that spot, but they didn't pretend. Like, for anybody who remembers, the Dukes of Hazzard.
Mm-hmm.
There was one season where Bo and Luke Duke, the actors who played them, like wanted more money, and they didn't want to give it to them. So there was a season with a replacement Bo and Luke Duke.
Oh my God, I remember this.
And
And
it
I
was like-
remember being very confused by it.
It was like their cousins or something. So it wasn't Bo and Luke. They did make them new characters, but they essentially played the same characters. They had a
But
different
it
name.
was
They
like,
looked
I'm like,
different.
why? I was like, where are they? What the hell's going on? Why are these two guys in the fucking, General Lee? What the hell is this? What is this shit?
Yes, and then they brought him back the next season, and I think they did have one crossover episode where they were both there. But like, anyway, this is done better than that. And it is kind of weird as you go on towards the end when like it's like, okay, well, we've defeated that enemy, so here's a new enemy. And one interesting part for the last couple seasons, they brought in a couple new characters that were just happened to be they were characters from another sci-fi series called Farscape. They weren't brought in as their Farscape characters, but like they were so strongly associated with that other series that it was interesting. They brought in both of them and they were interacting with each other as new characters, and they made jokes about it on the show because anybody watching the show probably was familiar with the other show too. So there was like one dream sequence where everybody in Stargate played characters from Farscape, essentially with different names, but they switched it up so it wasn't the same actors and actresses playing the same roles that they actually played on the other. It was funny anyway. And there are a few like self-referential anniversary episodes and stuff that are cool. Anyway, bottom line, thumbs up to Stargate if you like your sort of sci-fi shows. If you like your Star Treks and other of these kinds of shows, you're going to like Stargate too. So if you haven't checked it out, go check it out. Like I said, it has a number of spin-off series too. We have not watched the spin-off series yet. Like Stargate itself, I watched a lot of them when they were originally on TV.
Okay.
Hold on. Alex just keeps making noise. And even if you can't hear it on the recording, it is really distracting to me. Okay. I took away what he was throwing. Don't just find something else to mess with. Dude, you're going to have to leave if you keep doing stuff. Okay. And I've made note to edit this out later for anybody who doesn't watch on YouTube. If you watch on YouTube, you get all this behind the scenes stuff. Anyway, thumbs up for Stargate if you like those kinds of sci-fi shows. The other spin-off shows I watched when they were originally on TV, again, sort of in a spotty way. I can't guarantee I watched every episode. I might eventually watch them again. I might eventually watch these the TV movies that occurred after the main Stargate series, because I have not seen those, and I want to, because like there's some loose ends from the end of the series that are apparently wrapped up in those made-for-TV movies.
Okay.
So anyway, a lot of fun. Thumbs up. Stargate SG-1. There you go. That's it.
By the way, I was checking out this whole thing because you know what? I didn't realize that's what happened with Dukes of Hazzard.
Okay.
You see, I I know that all of a
'Cause you
sudden there
were
were
a
a whole
kid when
bunch
it
of episodes. Well, yeah, I realized a whole bunch of episodes that they weren't there, and I'm like, who the fuck are these guys? I remember.
Mhm.
Who,
What was
who
I
are these?
right? Was it a money dispute?
It
That was
was
just my
no, no.
memory.
You were absolutely correct about it, and so, but what happened was, they held out. They cast these two guys that looked a lot like them. Then they said that the Duke boys went to race in NASCAR
Yep.
somehow
Yep.
for a while, and what happened was that the ratings like crashed, and so you know so they were like I think it was Warner Brothers was like, shit, we gotta,
You can have your money.
yeah, we'll give you the money. We need you guys back because the ratings got hammered. So yeah. But they did come back, and it was for a couple of more seasons. I'm looking at
Yep.
here. Hang on, they had a chart, but I think the damage is kind of like, actually it only lasted 2 seasons after
It
that.
never recovered.
It never really fully recovered from that. So the bottom line is that you should have just given them the fucking money.
Yep.
So anyway, so that was
Well,
nice.
on the Stargate one, there was one like actor who was like, I'm kind of he wanted more money too, but also he was like, I want to explore other things, blah blah blah. And so he went into like just doing those cameos for a season. And then they were like, here's your money. Come back, please. And he was like, oh, okay, I'll come back. And there's another character Colonel Jack O'Neill, who is like the head of the team the whole time, also kept trying to say he was retired from acting and done. And so he left the show a couple times, but they kept convincing him to come back for cameos to the point where like they made jokes about it on the show. I thought you were retired. Why are you here? Things like that. So anyway,
You know,
anyway,
anyway.
we're done. It's time for a break. And I promised this thing. So just so Yvonne can hear here, I'm gonna play it into the microphone to start with, but then I'll properly like replace this when I edit it together with a nice version, I guess. Okay, so there are several of these. He sent me 3 segments, each of which have a bunch of words. So we'll see how long this takes. A few minutes, probably. Here we go. I don't have the exact transcript of Sam's, but first on that Nova episode. But I can summarize the key points for you. Sam starts by mentioning how he was watching the Nova episode about dino birds and got curious about the coordinates they flashed on screen. They showed a full 12-digit latitude longitude and a shorter 6-digit one, which immediately made him suspicious. Why the inconsistency? He went down a rabbit hole, checking Wikipedia, of course, and even pulling up Google Earth to see if they matched any known dig sites. The best part? He gets so caught up in it that he debates messaging the Nova producers directly, just to ask if the numbers were real or just placeholders. He knows it's a long shot, but the inconsistency is bothering him too much to let it go. Classic Sam, getting fixated on details no one else notices, and then almost emailing PBS about it. Okay, next. Ivan, you ever have one of those moments where you're watching something completely normal, just enjoying yourself, and then suddenly, boom, you're spiraling down a research hole you didn't even know existed? Sam, every day of my life. Ivan, right? So I'm watching this Nova episode about dino birds, feathered dinosaurs, fossilized impressions, the whole deal. And then they throw up some coordinates on the screen. Just numbers, right? But something feels off. Sam, oh no. Ivan, yeah. One of them is a full 12-digit latitude and longitude, the kind that gets you down to a square meter. The other? Just 6 digits. That's not right. I paused the episode, rewound, checked again, and then, obviously, I had to open Google Earth. Sam, of course. You had no choice. Ivan, exactly. And then I thought, well, maybe they rounded one for some reason. But why would they? It's Nova, not some History Channel nonsense. So I start looking up known dig sites, trying to match locations, but nothing quite fits. Sam, you're going to email them, aren't you? Ivan, I'm thinking about it. Just a polite message to the producers, asking if those numbers are real or placeholders. For science. Sam,
This is why I love and fear you.
Okay, last one.
Sam, but first, you ever be watching something totally normal, just a casual educational program, and then suddenly you're deep in coordinates, checking decimal places like your life depends on it? Because that's where I was with this Nova episode about dino birds. They throw up a set of latitude and longitude coordinates, one of them a full 12-digit precision point, the other just 6 digits. And immediately, I'm like, hold on, that's weird. So I pause, rewind, check again. Yep, that's what they showed. Now I could have just let it go. But obviously, I didn't. Next thing I know, I've got Google Earth open. I'm checking known dig sites. I'm cross-referencing Wikipedia. And none of it is adding up. So now, I'm at the point where I might actually email the Nova producers and ask, hey, what's going on with these coordinates? Are these real? Or did someone just make up some numbers? Because I need to know.
Okay, Alex just sent more, but that's not happening today. We've already done 3. He's fighting me over it. Ah! Maybe more some other time. Anyway, that was based on a true story. We were actually watching the Nova episode on dino birds, which is the most well, not the most recent. It's a recent Nova episode from this year.
Ivan, you ever
No,
just be
no.
watching Nova, thinking it's going to be a nice, relaxing time, and then suddenly you're in.
No.
Go quiet, Siri.
Anyway, this is it actually did happen. They had coordinates on the screen, like when they were talking to people at a new place, they'd put
Yeah.
coordinates in the bottom left hand of the thing, and there'd be a little animation. And I noticed that they had like, it was like the degrees period, and then like 12, 14 digits. So I had to pause it. I worked it out. That locates your position on the planet down to a nanometer.
Oh, wow.
There's no reason to locate you down to a nanometer when you're just showing that you're at some building where they're doing something. And then I tried to look up some of these coordinates to like they showed like the person in front of the building talking about whatever. I looked up the coordinates. There was one that was in the suburbs of Beijing, and it was in the suburbs of Beijing, but it was not in front of the building that they were showing on the thing. I looked at like the satellite view and stuff. It was in a field, not at the building. So I'm like getting upset by this, and like, what are they doing? And I'm like, they probably rounded and then added extra digits, but what's up with the extra digits? Are they random? Are they inserting some sort of code? Is it like a secret message that the producers have to like put in their kid's name and code or their wife's name or something? Now, of course, I did not, I am ashamed of myself. I did not investigate further, writing down all the numbers and trying to see if there actually was a code and try to crack it in some way.
You animal.
But the fact that they had these extra digits there, I mean, immediately I was like, hey, just 2 or 3, 4 or 5 digits after the decimal point gets you to like within a foot or 2. Like, why are there 12? So anyway. Okay, Vaughn. Newsy topic. We've already got an hour on the non-newsy stuff, or almost an hour.
So have to pick a newsy topic, son of a bitch. Okay, we're gonna pick. Well, all right. Let's shut down. Did we have a shutdown, Sam?
We did not have a shutdown. Maybe like let's expand this slightly from shutdown, like, because I think there's a big thing here about how the Democrats handled the shutdown versus
how the Democrats or how Chuck Schumer handled the shutdown.
Yes, well, Chuck Schumer and a bunch of people who went along with him, but like I feel like there's a fundamental contrast here between how certain Democrats like Schumer are handling things versus how
and Fetterman,
and there were 10 senators who ended up voting for this thing, but like contrasted to like things like, we talked about AOC before. Bernie's doing some stuff, Walz is doing some stuff, and it like one quote that I saw, and we will talk more specifically about the shutdown stuff itself, I guess, but There was one quote.
Well, what shutdown? There wasn't a fucking shutdown.
Yeah,
What the fuck is there to talk about? Democrats. I mean, Chuck Schumer caved. Again, Chuck Schumer caved. Let's be clear about this. Chuck Schumer caved while extracting nothing.
Right. Well, I'll say
Which that's the thing that really pisses me off. Because if you're going to do that, you needed to have gotten something out of this.
Now, one quote that I thought was really on point was from Anne how do you say her name? Caprara. Anyway, Anne Caprara. She is apparently the chief of staff for Illinois Governor Pritzker. And she posted on Blue Sky, the fight going on in the Democratic Party right now is not between hard left, and moderate. Because a lot of people are putting this as sort of progressives versus moderates, but no.
Yeah, and it's not.
She says it's between those who want to fight and those who want to cave.
That's right.
And team fight stretches across all ideological aspects of the party.
Yes.
Misread this at your own peril.
She's totally right.
Yeah. And I think there's a lot of this that's old guard versus new guard, but not even. Like Pelosi put out a statement that
ripping Schumer.
Like, she didn't explicitly use his name and stuff, but she made it absolutely clear what she was talking about. And Jeffries, who I've had problems with as well, also is like, the House went on a limb for this.
Yes.
We 100% stayed together.
Listen, man,
against this.
After you get the House to be that together, Chuck Schumer
I think there was one Democrat who defected.
Yeah, well, okay, but after you get the House to stick together that way, what Chuck Schumer did is downright treasonous.
I'm not sure I'd go that far, but it's definitely like, what the hell are you thinking? And like you said, it's no value extracted.
Exactly, like, no value extracted. Nothing.
You kind of knew in the end they had to make some sort of deal that would like not result in an extended government shutdown. But to just sort of say, okay. And like, look, the argument was, let's be fair and give the argument. Schumer's argument was basically, look, they kind of want the government shut down and it would empower them even more. Like, once we're in a government shutdown, then you sort of even further justify all the cuts that they've been doing, because they can be like, hey, we obviously don't need this. We're doing fine with everything shut down. And while they're in government shutdown, they have they have much more ability to pick and choose what to shut down and what not to.
Okay. Yes, that is the argument. But again, here's the reality. He caved many hours before. He didn't even push this to the brink. It's not like, even if you didn't want the damn shutdown and you had your reasons, it was the only bargaining chip that you had. And you went like well before you didn't even try to use it.
Yeah, just to finish the picture, it's because the way that they were pushing to extend with a continuing resolution was subject to the filibuster. So they needed 60 votes in order to bring it to the floor for a real vote, which only required 50. But you had that procedural step that did require the 60 votes, which means it did need Democrats.
Yeah.
And so the leverage they had was they could have said right up front, no, we're not granting you to this. Republicans, you control the House, you control the Senate, you're on your own. But hey, look, you don't have enough to get this done, so you're not getting it done unless you give us something.
Something.
And they could have picked whatever. I think in the end, the deal was they could put 4 amendments on the floor that would all lose. Like, what the fuck?
But now, what the fuck? No.
What's the point of that? No. Like,
it's just preposterous.
You either hold out for a real deal where you make them back off from some of their own priorities, or at the very least, you end up putting them on the spot, refusing to do things that are popular or insisting on doing things that are unpopular. And you make a spectacle out of that, and you force them to be wide open out there on the record about things that would hurt them politically. You at least do something.
You try, you know, to get something out of it. And you know, I still think here's a reality. The shutdown puts a lot of pressure on everybody. Even with this thing, well, we could pick, choose, whatever. They couldn't really just pick and choose or whatever. You still needed the damn filibuster breaker. It's not like they could do something, but you could have said, look, for example, I would have. I think one that I would have said, okay, you guys want to pass the clean CR? Okay, great. Here's one condition: stop firing fucking veterans. How about that?
And that's exactly that's exactly
kind of shit.
You either they cave on that, or you put them on the record.
Or you put them on the record, or you put them on the record, basically saying, "Hey, you know what? They refuse to protect veterans' jobs. They refuse to protect." You had to do. You had to use it. And you just fucking just frittered it away.
And there are a bunch of other things too. Like you could have them like. I think Chris Hayes on MSNBC has been on about this one. You could have had them sort of do something to sort of validate the Elon Musk stuff.
Right.
You know, just list out all the stuff that he's doing, all the people he's firing, all the things he's shutting down, and say, okay, look, this stuff is illegal with Musk just doing it on his own. It would be perfectly legal if Congress passed a law about it.
Exactly.
So pass the damn law.
Right.
You know, and put them on the record about that. But no, just nothing. And I think this whole thing is, you know, this is once again this sort of surrendering in advance kind of thing. And look, part of Schumer's argument here was, hey, if we held this up and the government was shut down, in the end, the Democrats would be blamed for it. And
blah, 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 blah.
And look,
with people's short fucking memories right now, yeah, like all the shutdowns, the other ones that were pending with Biden, did they blame the fucking the Republicans? Did they lose anything? Fuck this shit. Stupid thinking. It's just stupid thinking. I'm sorry, but he completely fucked up. He needs to retire. He needs to go home.
Yes, he does. I mean, I think it's been past Schumer's time for a long time now.
Yeah, but this is not
an ageism thing per se. It's
an ideas thing.
It's an ideas thing.
And these ideas are wrong.
It's a meeting the moment thing. It's like these folks who've been around for a long time are not showing that they have what it takes to react to the new reality of what Republicans are now. There's all these people that are longing for the days when you had sort of everybody was, you know, back to the Reagan days where Tip O'Neill and Ronald Reagan would go for a drink after work or whatever and like be friends. You know, and even after disagreeing all day, and then where that was common, and Biden wanted to go back to those days too. And I think,
well, you know what? Those days are long gone.
It's like acknowledge reality.
Those days are fucking long gone. They ain't coming back. They're gone. They may come back. They may come back at some point, but it's not anytime soon.
It's not anytime soon, and you can't. Like, I was upset about the whole, like, it's not officially a State of the Union because it's the first year of a presidency. It's an address to Congress, whatever. But, like, at that speech, I was also upset by the Democrats who were like, yo, I mean...
What about the 10 fucking Democrats that voted to censure what's his fuck? The Democratic guy that was protesting with good fucking reason.
The people who stayed away and that guy who made a point of demonstrating and being kicked out of the thing. Those are the ones who did the right thing.
Right.
The ones who sat there politely, fuck them. Even the ones with the stupid little signs. Okay, that's better than nothing, but it's
Well,
kind
it's
of
better.
like I was saying before the speech, they should have either not shown up at all, or they should have shown up and then had an orchestrated thing where every 30 seconds someone got up and left and made some sort of protest statement as they walked away.
Right.
This is not the time for, okay, we're going to sit there and be polite and pretend this is like, okay. No, those days are long gone. And there's a significant portion of Congress who's just not willing to go there yet. And it's like this sort of like, oh, let's try to find places where we can be bipartisan. Oh, let's treat them like as if this was happening in good faith. No, there is no good faith.
No, there is no good faith.
And so pretending that, and like, look, this goes along with the whole thing of like, this also this, what's the right way to react to losing? Okay, so first of all, the reaction is, oh my God, the Democrats got crushed because we have a winner take all system and lost the House, lost the Senate, lost the presidency. But all three were goddamn close. Senate less so than the others, but all three were close in the end. But it's because things are amplified by the Electoral College, by all of these other factors, and it's winner take all. It was like, we got crushed. No, you just barely lost. If you'd done a little bit better, and you would have been okay. So like, but there's people reacting of like, oh, we have to change absolutely everything. Oh, we have to move to the center. We have to adopt Republican positions. We have to not talk about trans people. We have to do this. We have to do that. No. Retreating is not the way to win in this kind of situation. Nope. It makes you look weak. It makes you look like you have no convictions. No, the thing you got to do, and I'm not saying that the whole Democratic Party should become Bernie and AOC policy-wise. That would be a mistake too. But you have to show up for your damn convictions.
I'll tell you what, hell of a lot better than the current one. I'll fucking sign up for that. I'll sign up for that plan. Better than the current one.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, but you don't have to go all the way to where they are position-wise. But I think you do have to go to where they are attitude-wise, where they stand up for what they believe in and are not gonna just say, oh,
roll over and play dead.
And look, I realized I was the first one to admit and say, look, you don't have the presidency, you don't have the House, you don't have the Senate, you don't have the courts.
Yeah, but you do have to use the levers that you have.
You do have to use the levers that you do have, and you do have to communicate clearly about it, and you can't end up looking like you're just giving
losers.
You're yes.
Yeah, losers.
You did lose, but you don't have to look like losers. And someone pointed out, even when the Republicans were in the minority, they never act like this.
No, never.
They are always like obstructing in any possible way they can. They're being vocal about everything. They're talking about how bad the other side is. They're talking up their own plans. They're doing all kinds of stuff, whereas this sort of preemptive capitulation is exactly why people are disillusioned.
Mm-hmm.
This is why, like, one of variety of reasons, but this is one of the reasons why people weren't all that excited about, well, certainly not about Biden, and to some extent about Harris too. The fight, I mean, come on, and I the whole, like, again, like, you have to moderate to go after the center. I know conventional wisdom is all about you always have to get the median voter, et cetera, but the way to win these things is to differentiate yourself strongly and have actual fucking convictions about things. And
this was an unmitigated disaster.
I agree. And Schumer specifically here, but we've had, and Jeffries was good on this one. But
Jeffries did fine.
Jeffries has been weak on other things. And then we had that Newsom thing where he was like talking
Oh,
about trans
fucking
people
Newsom. I mean, to me right now, Newsom is dead.
I mean, he not only, I mean, the conversation.
I mean, Newsom to me is dead. Period.
Yeah. I mean,
he's an idiot.
And look, this is the same, like, trying to move to the right or whatever. Like, the first episode of his stupid podcast was not just bring on somebody who disagreed with him. It was bring on some guy who's a right-wing fanatic Trumpy.
But not just bring on some guy that's a right-wing
and then
Trumpy.
Agree with him.
Is be completely unprepared.
Right.
Not know who the fuck the guy is, what his positions is, and not refute the bastard and go like, we're gonna, you're right about those trans people playing sports.
Right.
Fucking wanted to punch him dead in the face.
Meanwhile, like, we've talked before about how AOC seems to be communicating well. Bernie has been going on basically he's going into red congressional districts where the Republican Congress people are refusing to have town halls.
Beautiful.
And he's like, I'll do town halls.
Fuck yeah.
And so he and also, just to be clear, so these are red districts, but often purplish red districts. Although he's done some in deep red districts too. But like the whole point, and you're doing that outreach, you're going into enemy territory, you're giving your story, and he's getting huge crowds. He's filling like venues with 10,000 people. It's not even a goddamn election year. He's not running for anything. He's old. He's not going to run for president again, but he's popular.
But he's got balls still.
And like, look, I've never been a fan of Bernie, but
I am right now.
Exactly. He's like showing
balls.
Okay, sure, good word. And Walz is talking the same way. He's now going on the.
And so is AOC too, by the way, who's going out there fucking like, carrying water for everybody, showing more balls than all these other fuckers combined.
Yeah. And not being afraid to have these conversations.
And I know she's getting fucking daily death threats and shit like that.
Oh, of course she is. Of course she is.
And she's just going out there, not caring one bit about it. So, she's
doing what she... If you remember, like, right after the election, there was a thing where somebody put out an exit poll or something that identified there was actually a large number of people who voted for both AOC and Trump.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
And so she had a live stream where she was like, hey, if you're one of these people, I want to talk to you.
Exactly. What a fucking understand. What the hell?
But the point is, she was doing that reach out and she was talking to people and she was engaging with those kinds of voters. And
I know.
And Walz, AOC, Bernie are doing that. They are going out. They are talking to Republicans. They are talking to Trump voters, but they're not doing so in a manner of, oh, and we're going to give up our principles in order to try to convince you to come over. No, they're sticking by what they believe in, but they're engaging directly, and they are approaching this correctly. All of these other
Here's a reality. They don't need to compromise on anything because the fucking reality goes back to what I said in the in the butt first, and it goes back to what people are seeing like right now. These people right now are a lot of people, like a high percentage of fucking people that vote, a large number of the kind of swing people do you expect that voted for Trump right now are in serious buyer's remorse, big time. And what you have to do right now is capitalize on that properly, okay? And yeah, if Bernie and AOC are going out there and offering, and telling you, guys, this is what it is, and you give that strong message, about how we really offered you an alternative, and you need to fucking like make sure that in the next midterms you vote these fuckers out, okay? Because we offered you the right way. We told you this was going to be, and and it's exactly happening right now the way we told you. You need to vote them the fuck out. Period.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and you don't have to rub their face in it, but you have to make sure you're giving that message anyway.
but many of them are already upset.
Yeah, I mean, and like we said, it's it's never going to be like 90% of Trump voters are like, oh crap, I should have voted for Kamala. But you don't need that.
You don't
It
need
was
90%.
It was the
Yeah.
freaking closest election, popular vote wise, in a long time.
Right.
This was a close election. You only needed, I think somebody estimated, like in the critical key states, you needed to change the mind of like 1 in 50 people. That's all. Maybe even less.
But the one thing, like I said, you know, you only needed to change that few people, and the reality is that what you needed to do is battle the reality they see,
And also
not the one that you see.
Yes. You have to recognize what people are seeing, what people's experiences are, and where they're coming from as low information people. And also the other thing, like we kept pointing out, like the effect diminished as the additional votes came in, but it was still an issue of like a lot of people who voted for Joe Biden just stayed home.
Yeah.
So how do you motivate those people? You don't motivate them by capitulating on everything.
That's definitely not one way to do it. That's for sure.
Again, like if you want to excite those people and get them out, you have to give them a reason to want what you're providing.
Get them
And you
fucking
have to make
excited,
them
damn it.
you make them excited. And some of that is personalities, and like AOC's got the personality. I think Tim Walz does too.
Oh yeah.
Like the second half of the campaign, like I keep mentioning that there was a big turnaround in September. Part of that turnaround is they muzzled Walz.
Well, yeah.
Like the first half, he was out there, he was excited, he was happy, blah blah blah. The second half, he screwed up in a debate. He didn't do that great in a debate, and then they were like, "Okay, you just stay quiet for the rest of the time." That was a mistake, But like, I think Walz has the personality. AOC definitely has the personality. I don't get Sanders, but a lot of people really love him, so he obviously has some appeal as well. Find those people, not like Newsom.
Oh
Not
God,
like
fuck Newsom.
not Jeffries, not Schumer.
Fucking Newsom.
Get
Jesus
these
Christ.
people off the stage.
Oh my God. Good Lord.
And frankly, I would not mind seeing Harris again. But she's been in quiet mode and she's thinking about running for governor in California and blah blah blah. But you need to like have the original Harris. Not they bottled everything up in the second half of the campaign and they fucked everything up. But whatever. Okay, shall we take a break, Yvonne? Then one more thing. Okay. So I will this time. Oh, fine. I will play the last thing Yvonne sent to continue. No, not Yvonne. The last thing Alex said. I get you two confused all the time. You look the same. You sound the same.
Yeah, we definitely sound the same. I'm sure he talks about as much as I do.
Yes. So anyway, and you swear about the same,
Oh yes, he loves the swearing.
Anyway, I'll play the last one he sent me. It was only one more, right? Yeah. Here we go. This is the last one, and that'll be the break. Here we go.
Ivan, you ever just be watching Nova, thinking it's going to be a nice, relaxing time, and then suddenly you're investigating coordinate inconsistencies like you work for some geological survey? Sam, I wasn't planning on it, but then Nova decided to throw up two sets of latitude and longitude, one with a full 12 digits, the other with only 6. And immediately, my brain went, wait a second. Ivan, of course it did. Sam, because that doesn't make sense. If you're going to show precise coordinates, you do it consistently. So now I'm pausing, rewinding, double checking. One of them is hyper precise. Like you could find a single rock precise. The other? It's vague, like it could be anywhere in a square kilometer. Ivan, did you consider just watching the episode? Sam? No, because by then, I had Google Earth open. I was checking known dig sites, and I was deep in Wikipedia articles about fossil locations. And guess what? The numbers don't match anything I could find. Ivan, so you're going to email Nova, aren't you? Sam, I'm thinking about it. Just a polite, hey, what's up with these coordinates? Because either they made a mistake, or they're hiding a secret dig site from the public, and I need to know which.
There you go.
Woo!
Yes. Okay. So now it's my turn.
It's your turn to see what you can see.
So I was gonna pick what we did last segment if you hadn't, but you did pick it. So I think the other thing we need to cover, that's also politics and Trump related and stuff is how's the stock market and economy doing, Yvonne? How did they like all the tariffs and uncertainty and back and forth? How's that going? It's going through the roof, right?
It's going through the roof, depending on which way your roof is.
Ah, right.
Okay. Well,
The roof of
Trump,
your upside down underwater car.
right. If you have like your upside down tree,
Yes, my upside down Christmas
the
tree.
Christmas tree, then
Yes.
yeah, it would be heading. If it's heading towards the roof there, then then it's right. There was today somebody posted the stock market report card, showing the performance of, I guess, the last 12 presidencies. So it wasn't just president,
So
but like
first
the
term,
4-year
second
term.
term.
Yeah. The last 12, okay, presidential terms,
But
and
but
how their
starting
stock
from
market performance.
starting from elections though, not inauguration day.
Election, not inauguration. Yes.
Yeah,
And I think it's important to election, because the election day, depending on who wins, does
is
create
when
a stock
people
market
start
inflection. Yes.
Yeah, people start reacting to it, one way or the other.
Right.
And often, by the way, often from that, I've seen that it's up no matter who wins because you've just eliminated uncertainty.
Yeah, and so that is something. So like right now, and I'm looking at this at why is this chart right now? I'm looking at only it's I'm looking at the 8-week chart right now again instead of like the 16-week chart. But bottom line is
every time I've looked at that, I've only looked at that site on my phone, not on my desktop. But there's just weirdness about it.
It's just a little weirdness. But bottom line, but the data I checked it. It tracks.
You checked it? Okay.
It does track. It right now, Trump had the second worst ever stock market performance to date of any of those presidential terms. The only one that was worse was Bush Jr. in the face of the .com crash.
Now,
okay.
Now just for our listeners, if you want to check this out, it's at stockmarket-reportcard.lot23.com.
Yes.
So
it's
you can check out these graphs and
yeah. And so right now it keeps showing me the stupid 8-week chart, but I know that when I was looking at it earlier, it was doing the 16-week chart.
Yeah, I don't get it.
I don't know why
19 weeks. So like 8 weeks would line up with inauguration day.
Right.
Almost. Right. I think we're at 7. So I forget, but like then I saw another view that was like 19 weeks, which is more like election. I don't know what's up with this site. It's confusing.
It's a little bit confusing, but bottom line is that Trump is heading one of the worst ever stock market performances by any new president. And this was when he was handed a strong economy and a strong market. you know, I mean, Bush,
wait, Yvonne. I have heard repeatedly from administration spokespeople over the
it's
last
a
few days
disaster, right? What did he say?
that
It's like
the,
the Biden disaster.
yes, this was a Biden disaster. He handed over an economy in tatters, and that this is all Biden's fault. And don't worry, Trump will fix it.
Okay, yeah.
Now the administration has also said, "Hey, we're trying to make some big changes here. Of course, there'll be pain on the way."
I, you know, okay, sure, yeah, whatever. This is their explanations are no, okay. Nobody in the stock market is buying their explanations. Okay, all right. This has all been self-inflicted. Um, you know, they are going around and you know they keep doing all of this trade wars, changes on policy, all these cuts in government, terminations, firings, they're cutting contracts or cutting whatever. Um
And they're trying to do things like suddenly overnight as well. Like, even if you believe government needs to like be smaller than it is, like if you wanted to be responsible about it, you would do it over some extended period of time, because guess what? The government is a significant portion of the economy.
and that's the thing. That's the big thing because and it's not like you are. They said, "Well, it's to cut the deficit," but here's the rub. Okay, they're looking at cutting taxes at the same time.
Yeah.
So therefore, you're going to keep the deficit at the same. There isn't any way that you're going to be able
up.
or up. There isn't any way that you're really bringing down the deficit in any meaningful way. Um, look, the markets have been every day. The president says something that is just bad for business. I mean, there's no other way of putting it. It's just every day. It's shit that's bad for business. And there is, the other day he was ripping business people because one of the things when you're a multinational, so you're manufacturing, getting parts and things from many different countries, assembling them and selling them in different countries. And he goes to that, and the business roundtable people are going to him and saying, look, we need certainty on understanding what's our, how we are trading with our partners. And he just dismissed it, saying, yeah, these idiots, certainty. They all just want certainty. I'm like, yes, you want fucking certainty because you don't want to be, for example, like one example that I was seeing today, a restaurant or a distributor that imports wines from Europe, okay, and sells them to restaurants. Those wine orders are placed a long time in advance, okay? And so all of a sudden you ordered $250,000 worth of wine that you pay for up front, by the way, 6 months in advance. That all of a sudden you're going to have to pay if you're going to take delivery of this shit. You have to pay a tariff of $500,000. Okay? That's going to bankrupt people. Literally, there will be people that will have to walk away from shipments and just say, we don't have the money to take the shipment. We can't do it. We can't clear the shipment. Leave it at customs. We're not going to be able to clear it.
Right.
And so, I don't understand, and he thinks this is a joke. He doesn't get it because he doesn't do business like this. Fucking hotels and real estate. It's not manufacturing, building, assembling, and selling stuff. You don't do any of that shit. So he doesn't get it.
You should be using the California wine anyway.
Right. Yeah, I mean that solves the problem. I mean, but
Well,
you know, but then on another thing. Speaking of that thing about the California example,
yes,
it's like this whole thing about, oh yeah, we're bringing manufacturing back. Listen, nobody is bringing all the textile and furniture manufacturing that was lost in the last 30 years back to America.
Well,
that's not happening.
Well, but here's the whole thing. The scenario where you could make that happen, like let's say you make the tariffs like 500%, or hell, you make it illegal to import. Period. Just make it illegal to import this stuff. Then eventually, maybe you do get some domestic production. But here's the thing.
It's at a great cost.
It's at a huge cost, and you have to sustain that ban or those tariffs for an extended enough period of time that people actually do believe they're permanent, and that it's worth doing the investment to do the domestic production, and that it's worth the increased cost it's going to be.
And
I mean,
the reason here's a problem with this shit, Sam. Yeah. Look, I've seen this done. Look, I'll give the best example that I remember. Brazil for a long time had these huge import barriers on computing. Okay. Mm-hmm. And they had these things that if you wanted I mean, they basically, the tariffs were so great that it forced a lot of computer companies to have to manufacture in Brazil, because otherwise it was just the tariffs which just made it impossible. So a number of companies did.
That's exactly the kind of thing Trump wants to happen, right? So a number of companies did.
A number of companies did, like IBM and HP. You know, when I worked at HP, and they found a joint venture partner down there called Avisa, which they did these computers, you know, and they were doing some manufacturing. But here's a reality about that. The reality is that it made it that the computers that medium-sized to large businesses were able to get, the only type they were able to get is because IBM manufactured like AS400s, System 36s. Those are the only ones that they could get. That meant that computing for middle to big businesses was extremely expensive in Brazil as compared to everybody else. Okay. And what you could get was shit as compared to everybody else as well. Okay. Because you were so closed off to the rest of the market. So you wound up causing the economy a lot of harm because you closed off yourself to the market so much.
I don't know the scenario there, but let me predict one additional thing, and you can tell me if I'm right on this or not. Did it also develop a huge black market?
Oh God, yes. Of course.
Duh.
Of course. I mean, of course it did. But, you know, it developed a black market for certain products and things, but even that black market was problematic. You couldn't get support. You couldn't get certain things. So it wind up that large businesses.
And you also get a premium on that. It's still expensive because now you're doing it illegally.
Yes. Yes. It's a disaster. These kind of policies are a fucking disaster, especially for an economy that what is done over the last 30, 40 years is, you know, so yes, we did lose a lot of this low cost, you know, this lower cost manufacturing, but we converted it into, you know, quite a lot of more high value added services. Okay. I mean, this is the reason why companies like Apple and you know, and others are so dominant in the world. Okay. Because we're not fucking building, you know, for the, you know, our economy isn't based on building, you know, certain cheap products. Okay. It's on the value add. It's on the services. It's on the financial services, on this other stuff, you know, and like you said, you know, yeah, in order for those tariffs to work to some extent, you would have to keep them for an extremely long period of time for some of that manufacturing to come back. Okay.
And even then, it would be much more expensive.
It's super expensive. The wages these people are gonna get are still shit. Okay. And it's going to be ridiculously expensive on the rest of people. It's going to raise the prices of so many goods. It's just, I don't, you know.
Okay, so are they intentionally trying to cause a recession? Do you think it's actually their purpose? Do you actually think they want one, or are they really just like they have no idea and they're going to stumble into it? It feels like I've heard people speculate. Let me just throw this out there without saying I believe it, but I've heard people speculate that they almost intentionally want to do a recession because the people they care enough, the people they care about the most, are rich enough that they can survive the recession no problem. People who are not able to survive easily, lots of companies will go bankrupt, lots of businesses will have trouble, but then the ones at the top who survive the recession and have enough money that, you know, they can sort of weather it, will then come in and pick up all that stuff at fire sale prices and make a huge profit off it after the recession is over.
I mean, and that's plausible. Okay, that's a plausible train of thought. It certainly is, but also the
Yes.
problem is it's one of these things is like letting the genie out of the bottle. You know, this is what they're playing with is the same shit that ate up the rhinos, or the so-called the rhinos.
The Republicans in name only.
Right,
Not,
which
not
are they are
like
right
the
now.
animal with
Not the
horn.
animals, right? Oh no, we'll just we'll use the racists, to be whatever. They'll get us our votes, and we'll get our taxes, and we'll get our stuff, and we'll blah blah blah, and we can control them. We can whatever. Yeah. We can control them whatever until we came out of control. It's the same fucking thing with a recession. These are the kind of fucking things, okay, that it's like you're arsoning the building, thinking that you could keep the arson under control. You'll be okay somehow.
Yes.
Okay? And that's always a bad plan to set your own fucking building on fire. I don't care if you think you got some advantage later. It's a bad plan.
You're going to collect the insurance money.
Not if you burn up in the damn building.
Yeah.
So, I'm sure there are some of them that are thinking this. And actually, I do think, look, I'll tell you something. I wonder who the hell's feeding him ideas about what things to talk about one day to the next. So I'll tell you something. You want to talk about a way to easily short stocks and buy stocks based on whatever the fuck whim he's going to be having like the next day?
Yeah. You think there's some you think there's some insider trading going on here, Yvonne?
Oh, I'm 100% sure there's insider trading going on like we've never seen it before.
Yeah, absolutely. If you even have like a 2-hour head start on like what the fuck Donald Trump's going to be ranting about next,
yeah,
you could ride these moves up and down,
nicely. No problem. Yeah, very nicely. Yeah,
and of course, like in like the old world, this is one of those things where stop thinking about how things used to be. There's nobody investigating that.
There's no who's investigating. Who's investigating whom? What
the SEC is going to look into who's insider trading on this?
Funny people.
No,
I do love how, by the way, how the Tesla and SpaceX both sent unsigned letters to the government, basically pleading against the tariffs. And I'm like,
yeah.
Unsigned letters? Like what? Like what? Like, yeah, so Elon had nothing to do with them? For real?
Nothing. Well, he did in an interview this week. Somebody asked him, so with everything you're doing with the government here, how's managing your companies going? And he's like, I don't know. It's kind of tough.
He's such a fucking moron. I swear to God.
He basically said directly that, Yes, he is neglecting his companies because he's concentrating on Doge right now.
Yeah, and that's always
Now,
helpful for the stock
some
price.
people would say that like the best thing you could possibly do for Tesla and SpaceX is keep Elon the hell out of them. But
Well, here, so after this week, the White House became the you know a prominent Tesla car dealership
yes,
during the
yes,
week. I
we saw
mean, talk
that.
about
He did a little presentation in front of the White House showing off his cars.
so I get one thing is Tesla
and
car
a whole
sales
bunch
have
of
been plummeting.
also like Ted Cruz did like a little Tesla thing too.
Yeah,
Didn't he?
I think
Now,
he
of
said
course,
he
that was
bought one.
countered by Mark Kelly, senator
Sold
from
his.
Arizona.
But here, so Sam, are we going to get the electric car revolution now by Tesla now being the MAGA car? Okay, oh, that's a rabbit. Okay,
Sorry, I distracted Yvonne with a rabbit.
okay, well, there's a rabbit. Okay, well, that's good.
Because Yvonne reacted verbally, I will have to explain. The other day we were at the mall. We were passing one of these stores that has a whole bunch of like random stuff in it. Had this giant stuffed, creepy looking rabbit, and I was like, "Oh my god, that thing's disturbing." So Alex took a picture of it,
and
and then has now made it my phone background.
That's lovely. Anyway, yeah. So
go ahead. Sorry.
So is it? Listen, I've already seen so many Teslas with like MAGA stickers on them recently. I'm like, okay, so is this now okay? So are we going to? By the way, EV cars in the U.S. the last 2 months. Wait, EV cars the last 2 months in the U.S. surged 26%. Okay, even as Tesla dropped. So, but now if the Tesla is the MAGA vehicle, are we going to get the electric car revolution by all the liberals buying all the other brands and now all the MAGA people buying Teslas?
It could happen. I did see one. I saw one person on TikTok. I'm pretty sure it was TikTok talking about how, look, there's a major conflict happening here because on the one hand, there's nothing that MAGA folks hate more than electric cars because they want to roll coal and stuff to stick it to the libs.
Right.
But now their god is pumping Teslas and saying they're wonderful. So maybe now they have to buy them. And so there's a conflict.
I mean, this would be the I mean, as much as I want to see Elon Musk bankrupt, the reality is that if we wind up with an electric car revolution because the Tesla becomes the MAGA vehicle of choice, would be the weirdest thing ever. But in the end, we win.
Yeah. Oh, come on. Isn't that sticking it to you as a lib? Elon's making money.
I mean, yeah, but we're killing all these gas burners. Hey, I had theorized that this could be a way of doing this. Like, I think at some point in the past, I said, this could be the way.
It's too bad Elon doesn't also have major investments in solar and he does.
He does. What are you talking about? What are you saying?
He's got that whole solar thing that he merged into Tesla a few years ago. That's right.
He sells the panels, the battery pack, everything.
Yeah, that's right. The roof, the
roofs, the solar roofs.
I hadn't heard much about that lately.
They had issues, but they got them, out there. Yeah.
So Elon needs a windmill thing too, and then all of a sudden they won't kill birds anymore because or don't the windmills cause cancer? The windmills.
The windmills cause cancer. Of course, you don't realize the windmills cause cancer. I mean, the wind patterns.
Well, and that's the thing too. Like, somebody pointed out, I forget which of the things I was listening to, but they pointed out earlier today. I heard somebody talking about how like during Trump 1, Elon actually pulled out of some like governmental advisory panel because Trump pulled out of the Paris Agreement because he was such an environmentalist at the time. And now,
okay,
we've
here's
got
the thing.
this.
I don't know if he's not an environmentalist anymore. I think he's more as far as I can tell, his entire transformation to MAGA has been
Yes.
because of COVID
Uh-huh.
and the trans thing.
Yeah.
That's it. Because his daughter basically
Which, by
hates
the way,
him that is trans.
Yeah, what you just said, COVID and the trans thing, explains a lot of people. Not
Yeah,
just,
I know.
Not
It
just
does.
Elon.
It does.
But yeah, and yeah, what was it? You shared on the Curmudgeon's Course Slack, and I had seen it elsewhere as well, that his daughter, the trans daughter,
Yeah.
has also mentioned who by the way, like if you look at their rants online about him, are devastating.
Oh
Like,
yeah. Oh yeah.
You know, she has the goods on him in all kinds of different
He is
ways.
an awful human. I mean, he is a
One
truly awful
of the
human being.
latest is like he has fathered like 15 kids now.
At least that we know of.
At least that we know of. And the latest one was an influencer who apparently, like, the way he's doing this now is he's like taking applications and like sending them sperm for in vitro fertilization. He's not even going out and having sex with these women. But like but he wants to impregnate as many people as he possibly can. And apparently his daughter says he is having this go through selection procedures to like sort of filter out all the sperm that would result in female babies.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because he doesn't want girls. That's right.
Yeah. So and there are ways to do this because it is the sperm that determines the sex of the baby, not the egg. And there are apparently ways that you can tell and do things to dramatically change your chances of getting a girl or a boy. And so he's doing that because he only wants boys.
Yeah. Here it is. Vivian Jenna Wilson, the estranged daughter of Elon Musk, revealed her father pays extra for sex-selective IVF in order to produce male offspring, which is why he's so angry that she's trans.
Yes. And yeah, like, and what is it? And I think this newest influencer was not the first one that was IVF only. Apparently, he did this with like several of his subordinates at SpaceX.
I thought he fucked the subordinates.
He some of them,
okay,
but some of them were IVF.
Fuck Christ's sakes! You know, I love the story about the one person that said that they voted, you know, going back to my 1 square meter thing.
Yes.
Who said that she voted for the reason why she voted for Trump was because she had been looking to get IVF treatments. And in one campaign stop somewhere, Trump said that he was going to he's going to make IVF free.
Yes.
And that's the reason why he voted for
like
it.
5 minutes. Yes.
And that then you realize that she's bamboozled and she had these regrets that she voted for him because she's not getting her IVF and all these horrible things are happening. And it you know, it goes back. I'm like, man, I mean, all these fucking lying fake promises that Trump does, these people eat them up.
Yeah, it works. Like for the low interest voter who's doing the 1
look
square
at
meter.
what the fucking Palestinians. He told them that he was gonna, you know, he's gonna fix that. You know, Gaza is gonna be great, and of course now apparently he's planning on a resort casino, still in the style of Biff Tannen's Empire in Gaza, which totally makes sense.
Of course, yeah. Although we haven't heard much about that in a few weeks, so.
I you know, yeah. Well, I did hear that
as he lurches uncontrollably from one subject to another with the attention span of a gnat.
Well, I mean, I don't know. This week he was saying he was ordering like military options studied for Panama. We're gonna bar and Panama, and we're gonna bar.
Not on Canada. I have not heard that explicitly.
No, Greenland.
Panama for sure. Oh, Greenland. They're talking about doing the basically the Russian playbook with Crimea of like start with the American bases that already exist there and then expand.
Always, follow your idols.
Yeah. So
And you got that, and then I don't know what was the other one. I mean, oh, that he's gonna bar all Venezuelans, Cubans, and Haitians from coming into the country. So now no Muslim. So now it's not a Muslim travel ban.
The latest list is apparently the draft list for the new Trump travel ban has 43 countries.
43 countries.
43 countries on the list.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Exactly. Let's see. Do I have a list here? This is I'm bringing up. This is a New York Times article from from when? From March 14th. The Trump administration is considering targeting the citizens of as many as 43 countries as part of a new ban on travel to the United States that would be broader than the restrictions imposed during President Trump's first term. They want to do it in 3 different categories: red with all travel banned, orange with sharply restricted visas, and yellow where 60, I guess they're giving the countries 60 days to address concerns before deciding where they're going to be. So the red list: Afghanistan, Bhutan, Cuba, Iran, Libya, North Korea, Somalia, Sudan, Syria, Venezuela, and Yemen.
Yeah, I just pulled up the article.
The orange list: Belarus, Eritrea, Haiti, Laos, Myanmar, Pakistan, Russia, Sierra Leone, South Sudan, and
so the Russians don't get open visas? Oh, it's a shame.
Apparently not. And then the list that I guess they're still deciding what to do with: Angola, Antigua and Barbuda, Benin, Burkina Faso, Cambodia, Cameroon, Cape Verde, Chad, the Republic of Congo, Democratic Republic of Congo, Dominica, Equatorial Guinea, Gambia, Liberia, Malawi, Mali,
St.
Mauritania, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, Sao Tome and Principe, Vanuatu, and Zimbabwe.
Okay. But listen, hey, the Cubans and the Venezuelans are going to be thrilled.
Well, some of these already have significant restrictions, just to be clear. Even under Biden.
No, but well, yeah, well, not listen. A ban on Cuban and Venezuelans is not something that exists. You right. I mean, if you're in, you're in any other.
I said some of these, not all of them.
Yeah. The reason why I mentioned that is, look, the Cuban community really turned strongly, anti-democrat when the whole Elian thing happened in the 90s with Clinton. Okay,
where Clinton sent him back.
Yeah, where Clinton sent them back. I think people underestimate how that episode really hardened Cuban attitudes against Democrats. Venezuela was sold this bill of goods like the IVF lady about how they're anti-communist and whatever, but now he's throwing them all the ones with temporary protection status out, and basically wants to bar anybody with a Venezuelan passport doesn't have that basically wants to bar anybody with a Venezuelan passport to come into the United States, period. All travel banned. Which is quite a lot of people, a lot of the friends and family of these people that voted for him, that he promised this down in South Florida. And I'll tell you that this kind of thing is kind of like that kind of moment in reverse. They're really, and this is Steve Miller, who is just driving this, who is just a rabid, out of control racist drafting this list. And Trump likes him because he is a rabid, out of control racist.
Of course.
And he was, I mean, if I remember right, I mean, Steve Miller's from down here too, and he has a thing against Latinos. So
Nice.
this has the potential to backfire spectacularly very quickly on them. A lot of these things. I think it's all. Listen, Trump's Trump's approval already is underwater already. That's got to be a fucking record. Okay. I mean, his honeymoon is already over. It didn't last like 2 months.
Which, by the way, 538 used to have a way you could compare the approval ratings for all the presidents going back to Truman, but 538 is gone now. They got
Completely torpedoed.
ABC canned the whole part of their company that was 538, fired all the people. So maybe somebody else will make those graphs, those comparison graphs eventually, but we don't have them now.
No.
Sniff.
No. Yeah. So, maybe a website called Election Graphs.
I actually had the thought like a little while ago, maybe I could collect that data and do some stuff on it. And then I was like, I don't have time for that shit.
Yeah, that could be a problem.
There's clearly a need.
I mean, they completely wiped any trace of the presence of 538.com from the internet.
Yeah.
From their sites.
I was like, I hope somebody archived that crap. Like, archive.org or somebody, I'm sure has some snapshots, but like their database, like, like they had just a database and all kinds of ways to access it that you could get like all kinds of poll information going back a long time was there.
Well,
that you could
look, I'll see. One of the things I'm wondering, the staff that got let go. Look, one thing I'm wondering if any of them were allowed to take that information, because one thing that for example, I listened to this podcast that I like, a Levitard show that used to be an ABC property, a Disney property, and when they negotiated the exit, they were able to keep like all their
some stuff,
no, they were able to keep all their archives.
Right.
They did allow them to do so. So I'm wondering if some of the staff, when their exit, they're like saying, "Hey, you know what? We may want to launch. Listen, you're not interested in this shit. We're going to launch a site. Can we back up all this information and take it so we can, if we want to go do something else somewhere?"
And I'm guessing like there are people out on the internet who have backed up their database, anything that they had public anyway. But we'll see. Like, I'm sure those people will turn up again before too long. Nate Silver has his own thing he's doing. There are all kinds of ex-538 people that like, I think G. Elliott Morris ended up working for them for a while. He had been at The Economist before. I'm sure he will land somewhere else and be doing cool stuff. We will hear from this stuff again. There is a demand for it.
But like I said, Trump is
whether
managed.
It made sense for ABC.
Yeah, no, but I'll go back to the reason why we got out
Sorry,
to this.
I had 538 tangent.
Yeah, but pretty damn impressive how Trump has managed to get his approval rating underwater that fast. I mean, here's the one thing: he could have cruised to a honeymoon.
Yeah,
could have. Listen, none of the shit that he is doing. Nobody was clamoring for this.
Oh, what? No. Come on now. He is running the Project 2025 playbook. This was this was all there. The Heritage Foundation wrote the plan.
No. I mean, those people. No. Those people were clamoring for it, but
yes, the general public was not.
The general public wasn't clamoring for this shit.
The general public, at least his voters, were convinced that the whole Project 2025 shit was a lie. And that he had nothing to do with that. He didn't want to do this stuff. This is all ridiculous. This is liberals lying about what's happening. And of course, Trump isn't going to do any of this stuff. I mean, they didn't even believe the stuff he said with his own mouth because of nobody believes Trump. He's just full of hot air.
Right.
And they wanted him anyway. But it's not that nobody believes Trump. It's that all these people believed the things they wanted to believe and ignored the rest.
Right. So, this is pretty amazing work by Donald on that department.
Shall we be done?
Yes.
Okay. Go to curmudgeons-corner.com. You know the stuff. You'll find our transcripts. You'll find links to how to contact us. You'll find old shows. You can go back and listen to, we mentioned we started in 2007. Those old shows are out there. You can listen to them. I still haven't found the tapes with the college version of the show. Maybe someday. But yeah, you can find our archives. You can find our contact information. You can find a link to the YouTube channel where you can see the live streams, the unedited live streams that include video, not just our lovely voices, but also you can see the faces we're making. You can see the trash behind me in my office. You can see the non-trash behind Yvonne in his office. All kinds of stuff you could see.
There isn't. Yeah, there definitely. I do not have a mountain of trash behind me in my office. Definitely.
Is that the New York Times from the day you were born, Yvonne?
That is the New York Times front page from the day I was born. Yes.
I keep thinking like that, and
pretty cool stuff, by the way.
Another tangent. I will say, okay, there is a picture on the bottom of that page. Listen. That every time I see it in the background, because it's too small to see for real, but every time I see it, yes,
it's Jimmy Carter.
It's Jimmy Carter, and who's the other guy?
Let's see. It's David Gambrell, arriving with Governor Jimmy Carter in Washington last night.
I knew this was the New York Times from the day Yvonne was born because he's talked about it before. But that picture in the bottom, when it's at a distance and blurry and you can't see it properly, reminds me of a picture that I have of myself and our friend Rebecca with me taking a shot, like me taking a Jello shot. Like,
I have that picture. Yes,
and that picture right there reminds me of that picture when it's blurry in the background. Now, I haven't drunk or taken Jello shots in decades at this point, but like there was a period of time where under the bad influence of Yvonne and Rebecca and some of our other friends.
Oh my God, yes, the bad influence.
I would go drinking and have Jello shots at parties and stuff.
Oh, I know. So we're such awful people. Yes, we made you suffer.
There's a picture of me clearly under the influence.
Yeah, we made you so miserable. Yeah. God.
And anyway, that picture on that newspaper reminds me of it. Every time we record the show, I'm like, did he sneak in and change that picture on that newspaper to actually be the Jello shot picture?
But let me read you. Let me read you the headlines.
It's the newspaper from when he was born.
Well, let me read you the headlines from this day. Yes. Apollo cleared to make moon landing on Friday. No docking flaws found. Was one of the headlines. Another one asks, Governor asks new taxes of 1.5 billion for crisis. Refuses more aid to city. This is an issue with New York. New York City was insolvent. New York City was told by Governor Rockefeller today that no new state aid was available for the coming year beyond increases already mandated. So bond issue urged. State can no longer meet its own needs, Rockefeller warns. What else we got over here? U.S. officials say Allied drive is on in area near Laos. So obviously Vietnam War raging at the same time. Nixon projects cuts in inflation and joblessness. His economic message sees 3% price rise in 72 and 4.5% unemployment. By the way, those are numbers that got Biden fired.
And last time we talked about this newspaper, I mentioned that I do not have the newspaper from the year I was born. However, what was in the news when I was born was the prison riots in Attica had just ended.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Like I had thought I was born while it was going on, but I looked into it and it ended right before.
But here we talk about what's going on and like sometimes blah blah blah, like it's a worst time ever. You've got a fucking war raging here in South Asia where we had how many troops deployed? Several 100,000. We had a ton of troops and military deployed. We had Nixon, for God's sakes, and with inflation. New York City was bankrupt. Literally, New York City was bankrupt. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But we were going to land on the fucking moon again.
There you go.
I mean, we're going to land people, not a fucking robot that went and fell over
on its side for the second time in a row.
For the second time. Fucking idiots.
And Elon blew up another spaceship.
And
too, by the
Elon
way.
blew up another rocket, but we were able to launch that one.
Okay,
too.
okay. We were wrapping up. You can also find a link to our Patreon, where, of course, you can give us money, and at various levels, we'll send you a postcard, we'll send you a mug, we'll talk about you on the show, we'll ring a bell, all that kind of stuff. And yes, I still owe that to Pete, Greg, and Ed. I will deal with it eventually. Sorry, people. And at $2 a month or more on the Patreon, or if you just ask us, we'll invite you to Curmudgeon's Corner Slack, where all week long Yvonne and I and others are sharing links, chatting about the news, chatting about other things. So Yvonne, one highlight from the Slack, and then we can be done.
Oh boy. This one. This one was good. Developer sabotaged ex-employer's IT systems with kill switch.
No, I have to stop you.
What?
Ed and I talked about that last week.
Oh, you guys.
Because you posted it while we were recording. And so we talked about it and responded to it.
Okay.
We also made fun of you that you couldn't record, but you were well enough to post on the damn Slack while we were recording.
I was like, give me a break. I was like, really. My cold last week was really, 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 really bad.
I understand. We were just teasing you, Yvonne. We were just teasing.
Oh, okay. Well, there's a man shot by a dog in Fraser. Police say.
Beautiful.
The dog's paw got caught in the trigger, and it shot the man. How's that?
That's just the dog's excuse. You know it was on purpose.
He really hated that guy.
Exactly.
There was stuff on that cyber attack on X.
Oh, right.
Which apparently, like,
it was the Ukrainians, right?
Yeah. Apparently, it was a DDoS attack, distributed denial of service attack, apparently using a whole botnet, and they always spoof IP addresses anyway. So this is idiotic saying that there's an IP address in Ukraine. But apparently, a big problem is that most websites are protected against DDoS. Like right now,
there are a variety of services you could use, Cloudflare and others. They're
and apparently
ways to protect.
Yeah, and apparently obviously as per standard operating procedure at any Elon Musk company, they had that protection misconfigured, so it allowed to be a whole bunch of service exposed, and which is why the DDoS worked.
Nice.
So anyway,
okay. We are done. Thank you, everybody, for listening to us yet again on Curmudgeon's Corner. No. What's going on? Alex is asking for something again. He has made the background of my phone is no longer the rabbit. It is now a blurry upside down picture of me for some reason. Anyway, we're done. Yes. Oh, and if you actually log into the phone, the background is now a picture of a fish from the TV show Octonauts.
Okay.
So, there you go.
That's helpful.
Whose name I can't say. It's some long Hawaiian name. Amua, Pua, Kua, something fish.
Pukanakua.
Something like that. Okay, we are done. Thank you, everybody, for listening to yet another Curmudgeon's Corner. Have a great week. Stay safe, and we will be back with you next week. What's to say? Unless the cricks rise or something. In heaven, something cricks rise. Something.
Whatever. Something.
We'll be with you, absent something disastrous. Okay. Right. Have a great week. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.
Okay, that's it. I'm hitting stop. Bye, Yvonne.
Bye.
Okay. Okay, let's watch this. Oh,
Okay.
I'm only at 85%. What the hell? It says you're good, so I guess you could drop if you need to. Oh, 1 second. What? 2 seconds? That my amount of time until uploaded is going up, not down. Okay, 86%. Yeah, and it's